afternoon, everyone. I am one of the last people speaking today, so I'll keep the energy as high as possible. But really, today's talk is going to be around shifting gears. How can one test AI with a security focus? And it is very much in theme with the conversation of finding calm in chaos. I am all about a practical approach to things, and I would like to share with you my insights on how I make this world a little bit calmer for me. And security is one of my passion subject in the QA world, and I myself comes from a cybersecurity world as well. So I'll share a little bit of my insights today. So looking forward to the next 30 minutes with you. Thank you. So the big question that one asks when we get into the security conversation is, how secure are your AI systems now that you're using? It's a big question that we're asking many organizations. In my consulting life, this is a big question that we are having to figure out. And when I ask myself this question, there's two things that come into mind. Is the current world enough? Is the current ways of doing security testing enough? And do we need to shift? So we will get into that in this talk through these agenda points. I will share with you my view on the paradigm shift, why AI security matters, my traditional topic, which is the what, the how, the when of AI security, a bit of a practical view of how it would look like if you are trying to now implement a test strategy or a cybersecurity framework, and the different types of tools that you can look at and frameworks that already exist, challenges, and the way forward. So that's really what I hope to cover today. So let's just start by taking stock of where are we in 2025. Through the whole day today, there's been a lot of sub talks around AI, and mine is very much focused on the security side, from a implementation, from a how, and strategic implementation as well. So the latest report it is an actual report, the state of AI security. So if you look at the latest in that report, you will see there's two big lenses that one needs to look at in the cybersecurity world. One is a world where obviously we are augmenting how we test, how we do security, cybersecurity in its whole, and testing as well. And that means we are now in a world where we have faster threat detection and faster response time to identifying vulnerabilities. Vulnerability pattern detection, 100% are now being augmented with AI, and faster intelligence being fed into the system, especially when it comes to contextualizing an organization. Sorry, my English is failing this time of the day. And predictive analysis as well. And social engineering, we've heard of deep fakes happening all over. And how does one protect ourselves from that? But that's one lens where AI is used to fast track ethical hacking, penetration testing, any word you want to use. And then there's the other world where, as a security representative, I see the increasing amount of attacks, novel attacks, a changing landscape. And I mean, 2 years ago, we were talking about LLMs. Suddenly, everybody's buzzing around Gen AI, and already the new buzzword, agentic AI. So the world of AI is really rapidly changing. And what that means from a security standpoint is that threat actors are also changing. If you have a chance to look at this report, you will hear about new threat actors like Sleepy Pickle, that basically it is really embedded into your code. You don't even know about it. And next thing you know, there's private personal information that is getting leaked and cyber espionage happening through those back doors. So things are getting very inventive and creative at this point of this disruptive IT point in time. So the other big conversation as well is this level of trust that we have in AI solutions, and a lot of third parties are coming up, and we're just bringing them in, not really realizing the risk that is hiding behind those systems. So this talk is very much focused on the second lens, which is security testing of AI solutions, so cybersecurity in the world of AI. And why should it matter? I always start with the why. Why should it matter from a business lens? From a business lens, it matters because you still need to protect your assets, not only from your traditional attacks, but now from novel attacks. So you need to update your AI, audit checks, and security best practices. Your enterprise risk management needs to now factor in AI. So we're talking about your financial, legal, reputational, brand, etc. And obviously the big one, which is trust. All of that still matters. Maintaining your competitive advantage. So it is still very critical that one is able to maintain their competitive advantage. Most clients right now, most customers of systems are expecting faster response time, faster assistance, 24/7 assistance, and most organizations are having to have automated bots, agents, and things of that nature. When you introduce those things, how do you ensure that it remains secure? Similarly, if you are now seeing the importance of investing in AI and you're now future-proofing, you want to future-proof your AI investment, how do you do that? How do you ensure that as your business scale with the use of AI, how do you make sure that it is still secure? And breach management, which is an interesting topic for me, it's around a mindset of from the good old tradition of breach prevention to breach acceptance to now this breach resilience due to this fast-track disruptive landscape that we are in with AI and the speed at which things are changing and how new systems are being developed. So that's that. And obviously a big one in the security world is ethical AI. Ethics, that's been discussed from the first talk this morning. It is very, very critical as well. Where do we draw the line in those gray areas of AI? To further understand the why should it matter in AI? One needs to understand how does it shift? How is it different in the AI world? There's 100% a paradigm shift when I explored the subject last year. I started exploring that into more detail. And in summary on this slide, really just to make it clear to you, is that in the familiar world, we are used to deterministic outputs. Now we are in a world where the output keeps changing, so it's probabilistic. The attack vectors is 100% adaptive now. We used to know known patterns, but now everything is changing. So the nature of AI is such that it's supposed to adapt through learning. So attacks have to also now be adaptive attacks. Scope, in your traditional testing lens, we talk about code and infrastructure, but now there is a major focus on models and data and behavior. Validation, as we know it as in the testing world, but also in cybersecurity as a whole, often is a true or false, pass-fail type of validation. But now we look at statistical confidence level of validation. A lot of qualitative validation is required. From a temporal time aspect, we look at testing specifically is a point in time you found something and you fixed it and now it's supposed to be gone. However, in the new world, there is a need for continuous monitoring simply because what you tested yesterday when you tried something, today the system could have adapted and changed, and the same input that you entered yesterday may be resulting in a different output. So now you need to continuously monitor that and continuously test that. And obviously expertise, nothing crazy about this one. Every time a new wave comes in IT, any expert knows this. We have to now upskill ourselves in the new domain. And that's really what's happening also in this world. We do need to expand our knowledge of new types of security techniques. So definitely in the security world itself, you need to upskill yourself, but you also have to upskill yourself from a domain knowledge perspective. So that's a little bit on that picture that we paint to understand why cybersecurity matters in AI. Another big important point is understanding the landscape. As I've highlighted that in the previous slide, but as you can see, guardrails in AI is changing. It is becoming quite critical for us to understand that. If you look at the various projects, there's so many open source projects right now going on in the AI world. You will see there is one project called this Project Guardrails, and they will tell you how checks needs to be very much focused on the data layer and the model layer. This picture on the right as well, which I got from the MIT ORI source of information. They've got this amazing matrix, which I'll talk about if we've got time. But in essence, you can see in this picture, you need to now think about your access time, access point, and the system knowledge, and you can see the architecture changing. We are now needing to test the trained data, the algorithm, the trained model, The entry point is also changing. We're looking at the prompt type. There's the need for more white box testing, and black box testing as well stays here. So with that being said, what is it that we need to look at in the cybersecurity world to test AI properly and to vet AI properly? So the traditional world of security, we look at the triangle of CIA, which I have always expanded in my talks as such: confidentiality, authorization, authentication, availability, non-repudiation, and integrity. But in the AI world, three new themes come through, which is acceptable, safe, and ethical. What does that really mean? So acceptable, it's to do with aligning with AI policies. Safe is to do with, is your data safe? Are you protecting your IP? And ethical is to do with misuse of AI, correct representation of data. To really understand why these new themes come through as the what to look at, one needs to understand the challenges that we experience and the requirement gaps that are coming up. So as you can see, I'll just go through one or two of these points, but in the AI world, it's very easy to have miscommunication, AI misunderstanding the context, lack of awareness of environmental context, and miscommunicating information, bias being introduced in the system. So the system is now producing information that is unfair. It is not representing the right geographical population and things of that nature. Security is a big one, where using open source tools like OpenAI in organization, we learned that unregulated use of those tools, in essence, when you feed the information to it, it's stealing your IP. And that's in another client, they are getting access to this IP because through the model, it is taking that information, it learns from it, and it generates new data, and it pushes that data to other people that are asking the same questions. And the big one for me is the lack of human oversight. So that's the ethics part. A lot of people believe everything that AI produces is absolute truth, and there is a reduced, importance on human judgment, which is very scary. So in the security world, we also talk about the importance of human oversight in all of that. And when we look at the when to test in an AI system, this picture really just illustrates what we also in our research we found in my organization is the delivery life cycle is evolving. As you can see, this picture comes from OWASP, which is an amazing community for open web application security communities. There's multiple projects there. And you can see on your right, this is the evolving delivery life cycle. As you can see now, in the future, the delivery life cycle, we have additional phases like model development, model operation, data understanding, which really leads us to this picture of saying we will still be doing checks across the whole delivery life cycle, but extra focus on the data and the AI, all the way down to your controlled environment, where we still used to do chaos testing. But now we know we still need to do live testing as well. We need to monitor the change. The concept of data drift and model drift is why we need to do that. But basically, this needs to also happen then. All right. So to really illustrate that, have a look at this picture, which shows you pipeline. This is a delivery pipeline, and you can see these are new phases that are coming through: data collection, handling, model training, and you can see how at every phase, specific security risks can be introduced. And I'll look at one example here, which is training on poison data. So training on poison data means you're already going to be introducing bias into the system, and that's already a big problem. Or the model is not encrypted correctly, and it's exposing trade secrets. So these are real challenges in the delivery pipelines that gets introduced. The how. So the how of testing, in my previous talks, I always talk about manual inspection, threat modeling, code reviews, and active testing. So these are some of the techniques and frameworks that you look at. In the new world, we will still apply those traditional techniques. These do not go away. However, there is definitely a bigger focus on new types of AI-driven inspections, a focus on the data models that I've mentioned before, and the importance of checking the model. And like I said as well, the live monitoring becomes quite critical. So this is really what we're looking at in the new world. And these are the additional checks, the additional type of techniques and frameworks that one need to look at. To illustrate that, the slide really just shows a few examples of new types of security threats, like prompt injection, model inversion, jailbreaking, and data poisoning. And these are the new type of test cases and scenarios that one needs to be looking at. I am sure in the future there'll be, OWASP will come up with a book of all the test cases that is documented, but I give you a few here on the screen, like for example, crafting specific inputs into a prompt engineer, into the prompt of your, let's say, ChatGPT or Claude or any of the chatbot, and seeing whether it overrides instruction when you write specific things in there. There are multiple libraries that exist online as well to help you with that. I was very pleasantly surprised to see there's a lot of information, a lot of test cases, libraries already available in the security space as well. So with all of that being covered now, we've covered the why, the what, the when, the how. How do we bring all of this together? So first of all, from a risk management and testing management perspective, if you're going to go into security, please understand your new focus areas as listed here: adversarial robustness, data privacy, fairness, explainability, model integrity, etc. You need to also be aware of the amazing governance and that exists out there in security world and frameworks. My favorite is the risk management framework from NIST, US based. And why I love it is, first of all, it's great structure. And also it has a big focus on the TEVV, which is the test evaluation, validation, and verification standard. So it really, really focuses and encourages testing throughout their framework for AI. The EU Act is a great source of information for countries like South Africa or other African countries. It is definitely a source of information to understand where should we be heading and what type of strategy do we need to look at. Another framework that I love is the one from United Nations that talks about a human-centric ethics framework. They even have assessments available from them. And then from more practical techniques, so if you want to now practically apply techniques and tests, you will see there is an adversarial threat landscape for artificial intelligence system from MIT-RE. So they have an amazing landscape mapping for you, from reconnaissance to privilege escalation and specific attacks that one needs to do from a security standpoint. The OWASP community that I've mentioned, they have a Gen AI project website. In actual fact, the most known one is your top 10 vulnerabilities for LLMs, Gen AI, agentic AI. But what is amazing is they've created many projects on best practices, governance. They have the security landscape that lists all the tools that currently have been vetted by them to secure the whole life cycle of delivery from a security standpoint. And from there, you will find tools like PromptFu, LangTest, ART, which is the adversarial robustness toolkit. Some of them are Python libraries, but some of them are actual tools. And obviously, you have to look at the people enablement part as well. In our organization, we created our own training journey to make sure that we train our people, because as you know, the economy is not doing that well. People are unwilling to spend money. So we created our own content to help our QA community and our dev community as well. New job description have to be relooked, and you need to understand the importance of being a bit more tech savvy. Using the gadgets and the tools become quite critical. Very quickly, because I am running out of time, this is what a strategic roadmap would look like. I would recommend to start with mapping your threat landscape, establishing your roles, driving awareness campaigns. And this is really to ensure that you get the enterprise buy-in. And it's not just a top-down approach, it's a bottom-up approach. Drive a maturity roadmap with pilots and proof of concept with your early adopters. Define a clear cybersecurity and testing strategy to enable standardization. Once you've done that, you will be in a better position to operationalize, embed security in your delivery pipelines, and scale. And last but not least, you want to drive a center of excellence for AI governance and continuous assurance. That strategic roadmap is 100% backed up by more tactical type of themes. So some of those themes are listed on the screen here. There's themes at an organizational level, at a technical level, at a compliance and governance level as well. And just to give you an example, it would be you still need to drive automated security test. It is recommended to drive cross-functional teams. It is in this world of AI, working closer with data scientists, AI engineers, dev engineers, becoming even more important to bridge the gap of knowledge with regards to AI system, because that's definitely a real situation, the lack of knowledge and the need to bridge that gap. And obviously, from a governance perspective, drive your risk assessment, align, ensure that there's all kinds of AI policies, test procedures, your AI policies in place, and things like that. So all of that's quite critical. And this is really just to give an example of what we documented in our experimentation. We tested our own inside developed AI agent. It had the LLM model, it had the vector database, embedding models, and it had obviously now the front end to manage where we could manage our knowledge base. We looked at it from a whole testing perspective, and I wore the lens of security and performance, but today's is just on security. So we realized that definitely you want to do your threat modeling, and traditional still stays in the current world. When we tested that model, we still had a UI, we still needed to do traditional testing and non-traditional testing. Implement those test cases, do your continuous monitoring as well as you go along. And we also started noting down those guidelines, like your operational acceptance testing type of guideline for pre-deployment, during deployment, and post-deployment as part of your security testing framework. What are your challenges to implementing AI security? In a nutshell, as I said, I also wear a performance hat. So I saw when I talked with the AI developer and scientists there, the importance to balance the two conversation, security. How far do you go with restricting things without it affecting performance, where the system now slows down? You need to play catch up. Compliance is evolving, so is AI. So there is currently a world where it is quite disruptive. We are constantly adapting to change. And like we said, investment in training is quite a challenge because of the current economy that we live in. One needs to factor in the context and the culture, the cultural situation, socioeconomic situation. And definitely that causes more complexity. And there's no one size fit all. The context absolutely matters. All right, that's my last slide. Really just to share with you the key takeaways for the testing community. How do we start somewhere and get to this journey of mastery? What I gained from this, my personal experience, was that I learned through my project of trying to drive strategy for testing and actively test as well. We wore a test manager hat and a test engineer hat. We definitely confirmed that there are fundamental differences in the AI security world. And you need to adopt that. You need to understand AI to really understand why it differs. But what was good to know, to see, was the amount of practical, the fact that it is possible to implement security testing in the AI world. There are existing frameworks, tools, and techniques to guide you and support you in your journey. So it is not that difficult anymore. Investment in AI security will 100% prove value. I cannot say that enough, and there are many reports and metrics that states that. Personally, this picture is just to also honor my friend Aisha, who, thanks to her, I got into the AI journey last year, and together we worked on this, and we realized at first it can be quite dreary, it can be quite daunting. Eventually, those buzzwords started making sense. Testing was starting to be fun again, and we got to this point of mastery as well. So continuous adaptation and learning is part of human evolution as well. But in the security world, 100% you need to adapt and continuously learn as well. Cross collaboration, I already mentioned why it is quite important, especially because of the skill gap. If you don't know where to start small. Look at the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities for LLMs and agentic AI and other type of system like your GenAI as well. That's a good place to start. Then always factor in your context. There is no, like I said, there's no blueprint. You need to apply a fit for purpose mindset really and do just enough, start somewhere and then grow from that journey. So that's really me. Thank you so much for your time. I write articles on LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me, I highly encourage you to reach out to me. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to share this.